We're going back in time because the 2017 NBA draft changed the landscape of the current NBA. Let's lock in and find out why.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with no ceilings. Your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On NBA Draft with no ceilings. Thanks as always for making us your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The biggest stage in world soccer is here. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. My name is Albert Gim, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, PhD in the Pick and Roll, and Long Island Style Pizza. We've got Corey Tulaba in the house. Today, we're getting creative. We're doing something weird. We're going back in time. We're hopping into our time machine. We're going back to the year 2017, and we're going to do a redraft. And the reason why we're doing this is that we wanted to do some historic stuff. We wanted to go back and see how things went back in the day and how we could see things going differently now. A little hindsight is 2020 type of deal. And also on our website, ncmockdraft.com, we're adding some fun tools and some different things that you can do to pass the time this summer as you prepare for the next NBA season. And so we're jumping right into it right now, as you can see, and we're doing a 2017 NBA redraft. So, Corey, why don't you start us off with the first pick for the Philadelphia 76ers?
All right. So the Philadelphia 76ers famously took Markelle Fultz. Infamously? Yeah. At this point,
yeah.
Took Markelle Fultz, which was a very common consensus line of thinking at the time. And we know that it didn't work out for him, unfortunately, for whatever reason. I actually was a little shocked that he never like found his way back to having kind of like a consistent spot in home, because I thought he was at least an NBA player in Orlando. Yeah. But the shot never came. He had a shoulder situation, X, Y, and Z. I think now the first pick in this draft has become, pretty easy to make. Currently plays for the Boston Celtics. He's an NBA champion. I am taking Jayson Tatum out of Duke, number 1 overall to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that pick would really, really, really have put them in a different situation and really altered some timelines, because Joel Embiid, Jayson Tatum, and Ben Simmons, when Ben Simmons was actually a really impactful NBA player, it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's a scary one. That's actually a scary one. Like, it's pretty unbelievable to think about how things could have shifted. That 76ers team also had Jahlil Okafor. And what if the Duke connection, lit a fire under Okafor's belly or butt, and he became a different type of player, right? Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. That probably... I'm definitely reaching on that.
I'd also say, like, there's a chance that they still get Maxey.
True.
Because Maxey dropped a lot, like...
in the 20s.
So maybe they either make a move to get that 20th pick, or Maxey still, like, slides a few more spots, or maybe for whatever reason they're in the same spot with their record at that time because they're young and X, Y, and Z. Like, who knows? Like, they're still... because Joel Embiid didn't play his first couple of... I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Right? Like, who knows where they're at, but he's clearly... I think Tatum's number 1 in this 2017 redraft.
Yep. I actually don't think it's even a conversation at this point with what Tatum's become, and we've talked about Tatum a bunch, and an unbelievable player. With the second pick here, I'm picking for the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is also a weird one to think about because of, if you think about the roster in 2017 with the guards they had in D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, Nick Young, but they had a young Brandon Ingram, a young Julius Randle. What this team could have become is interesting. But with that in mind, there's only one. Zubac. Actually, that's crazy to think about. Zubac. Okay, but still, the pick here is very easy for me. I think he's kind of the maybe I'm crazy, but I think he has to be the second pick here. He ended up going a little bit later, and I was heartbroken when my Knicks passed on him at the time. But I'm going Donovan Mitchell here. I think Donovan Mitchell, regardless of what they had on that roster, I think he was older too, and I think he would have brought a interesting type of skill set to that Laker team. We know the type of guard that he's become, so that's the pick for me for the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, I love the pick. When I was kind of quickly building out my redraft board, the second spot was a little difficult for me, but he was in contention, and I think ultimately would have been the guy I chose as well. But I think it's a great pick, and it changes the entire trajectory of the Lakers at that point. Because, Brandon Ingram, Zubac, Julius Randle, Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if it turns into a championship roster, but LeBron comes soon. Who knows? Who knows what it turns into? At the very least, it's an interesting thought experiment. All right, at 3, I'm on the clock with the Boston Celtics. They took Jayson Tatum. But at this point, we have a young Marcus Smart. We have Jaylen Brown. We have in his prime, Al Horford. And I'm going to add front court depth there because I like Jaylen Brown, Jay Crowder on the wings. Isaiah Thomas, superstar Isaiah Thomas, right? I'm going to take Bam Adebayo here third. I think he fits onto that team seamlessly, flawlessly. Organization. I think he'd have been incredible for Boston here. So this is a pretty easy selection for me. Now that you took Mitchell off the board, it would have been an easy selection even with Donovan Mitchell. But I'm taking Bam Adebayo, best talent available, and I think he fits that roster really well.
All right, with the 4th pick, I'm picking for the Phoenix Suns. I actually have a hard situation here. I know who I'm going to take, but people might give me some flack for it because of the guys that I'm going to leave on the board. I'm just thinking Devin Booker, 20-year-old Devin Booker, and we know the type of player that he's going to become. I look at the wings on this team. I'm seeing TJ Warren, Jared Dudley. I'm not moved. I'm going to add a defensive monster next to him, a floor spacing beast who just shot. I think he shot over 50% from 3 in the playoffs this year, and then became an NBA champion with the New York Knicks. I'm taking OG Anunoby to be a scary building block next to Devin Booker and potentially change the trajectory of this franchise moving forward. So I'm taking OG Anunoby here.
Yeah, that's who I would have picked too. Okay. I had him in that spot. Him and Booker as your swings is incredible fit. It's an incredible fit.
I'm in love.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, to be completely honest. Yeah. All right, so at 5, the Sacramento Kings are on the clock, and this roster was a mess at the time. But they did have Boogie, right? Who was still a beast at the time of the draft. And, wow. They had Buddy Hield bombing threes. So you had that. I'm going to take another 3-point shooter here.
Okay.
Another 7-footer. I think he would have paired really nicely with Boogie. What year did Boogie get traded? Was it the year after this, or was it
maybe,
or was it this offseason? I don't remember. But I'm going to take Lauri Markkanen.
Nice.
Out of Arizona, 7-foot sniper. Originally went to Chicago, right? But I thought that Lauri was he had an awesome rookie year. Lone bright spot. Things got weird with him because he didn't, I guess, excel in this weird Bulls rebuild that they had going on, and never quite fit. And then obviously had a good year in Cleveland and then broke out in Utah and has turned into an incredible player. But I'm going to take Lauri Markkanen there.
Makes a ton of sense. I really like that pick. Okay, so our top 5, we had Jayson Tatum going to the Sixers, Donovan Mitchell going to the Lakers, Bam Adebayo at 3 to the Boston Celtics, OG Anunoby at 4 to the Phoenix Suns, and Lauri Markkanen at 5 to the Sacramento Kings. We may have shifted the landscape of the NBA forever with these 5 picks. Nailed it. Okay, with that being said, we're going to hop in to picks 6 through 10, and we're going to hit them right after the break. The biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That's what makes tournament soccer so exciting, from the opening whistle to the final kick. Now, FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every match with every goal pays. Bet on a match and get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. More goals means more bonus bets. All you have to do is to turn on your token. Currently, an unbelievably exciting tournament so far, but on Saturday we get Canada versus Morocco. Canada is on a Cinderella type run, making it to the final, to the round of 16, but they're going up against a tough African squad in Morocco with the way that they're playing and the high-end talent that that roster has. And after, coming down from, beating Germany the way that they did, this is an unbelievable situation. Or did they beat Germany? They might have been the Netherlands, actually. I might be misremembering that. But anyway, with that being said, every goal matters. And now you get to benefit from each goal scored. From the opening whistle to the final kick, let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started now. All right, guys, we are back. And if you never miss an episode, it's time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club and get ad-free audio, access to our members-only Discord, and more, all built for our most loyal fans. Check the show notes for more information. All right, guys, we are back. And we're going to continue our redraft of the 2017 draft. And we're doing picks 6 through 10. So, Corey, I think it's my turn.
Yeah, it's your turn. You're up. You're on the clock.
The Orlando Magic.
They took Jonathan Isaac. Who they waived.
Yeah. Recently. They had a young Elfrid Payton. Ooh. They still had a young Evan Fournier. Young Mario Hezonja. Yeah. Wow, this roster. Oh. Jeff Green was already 30 by then.
Still playing.
21-year-old Aaron Gordon.
Yep.
Wow.
Prime Vucevic.
This is a interesting one. But you know what? I'm just going to do it. I feel okay about it. Oh, do I get crazy here? Oh, man. People might hate me for this.
I mean, some names still on the board.
Yeah.
We still have Fultz. We have Lonzo, Josh Jackson, the guys who went in that top 5. We have De'Aaron Fox.
Right. Jonathan
Isaac, Malik Monk, Dennis Smith Jr., Frankie Smokes, Ntilikina, Zach Collins, Luke Kennard, Jared Allen.
Yeah.
The name who's actually not on our list because he went undrafted, but we could substitute him in for, Devin Robinson or Kobe Simmons or whoever we want to take its place. Fred VanVleet went undrafted in the draft.
It's a good one.
Isaiah Hartenstein still on the board.
Yeah. Okay, with that in mind, I think I know my pick here.
Okay.
Because I just feel like he's a guy who we've seen contribute to an NBA championship, a guy who brings you incredible defense. I know this past season he struggled with the shooting a little bit, but he's been a decent shooter from outside, but just winning pedigree. And I think he would have brought a real adult mentality to this team. I really thought about De'Aaron Fox here, but I'm actually going to go Derek White.
It's a great pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go Derek White just because of the player that he's become, how important he was and still is to the Boston Celtics, and just his defensive playmaking and influence is so incredibly tough, but then also offensively, some of the stuff he's been able to do over the years for Boston, I think makes him incredibly valuable. And so I'm going to make that pick here for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. I mean, and even he came in as a young player in San Antonio, and he had that monster series against Denver.
Yeah.
When I believe it was DeMar DeRozan's first year in San Antonio, and Derek White he was having like 30-point games. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, this young player is like kind of looks like he's going to be a major impact guy. And that's exactly what he turned into. So I think that the Derek White pick is a perfectly defensible pick. Especially if Derek White's in place of De'Aaron Fox for the Spurs this year, right?
Wow.
Probably when they probably beat the Knicks.
Probably.
I don't think that they give up those leads in the same way necessarily.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable. All right, at 7, the Chicago Bulls are on the clock here. And Rajon Rondo, Jerry Grant, D Wade, Denzel Valentine, Jimmy Butler, who was actually moved in this draft. So the 3 alpha era is officially over at this point. And this is the year that they pivoted to the rebuild officially. So I'm just going to go with who I thought there was a very slim outside chance. The guy who I wanted in this draft at the time. The guy who I really wanted I wanted Bam or Donovan Mitchell because I thought those were much more realistic outcomes. The way the perception of the draft was, but I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox here.
Okay.
I still think De'Aaron Fox is a good NBA player. Overpaid, sure, but I think he's had a strong career. I don't think the Spurs need to panic and move him. I think that this was his first real run at minutes that were really important. And I think that he can get better and learn from them. Hopefully he doesn't have like the ego to see a young guy coming up behind him in Dylan Harper, who I think is valued a little bit more highly, both internally and around the league, who I think is going to have a big second year. But I think he's still a really good player who's had a really good career, and I'm gonna let him run the Chicago Bulls.
I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. Makes a lot of sense. Ah, man. Now we're at an interesting part of the draft.
Yeah.
Interesting part of the draft. But I know what I'm doing here. And it's a funny one. The Knicks are just gonna get ahead of themselves. They're gonna make the move before the move. They're gonna make the move that they were eventually gonna make down the line, where they had to trade Cam Reddish and a first round pick to get him. But now they're just gonna take him here at 8, and he's gonna have a long, illustrious career with the Knicks, eventually winning a title in 2026, 9 years later. I'm taking Josh Hart out of Villanova at number 8.
I thought you might go in that direction.
Just thinking, even at that time in 2017 with that weird roster, if they had Josh Hart on board doing some of the stuff that he does now, being physical, doing the dirty work next to Melo and Porzingis, maybe things turn out a little bit differently. Not a big difference. I'm not saying he would have swung things in a completely different direction, but a guy who would have been very influential even on that squad. So Josh Hart's a pick for me.
Yeah. All right. All right. In our redraft now, I am going to we have this hindsight, so we know the moves that are coming.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm still going to do it, even though I think there's an argument, if I was like looking ahead in hindsight, I'd go a different direction. But if we're just redrafting based on the situation at hand, with I guess at least the hindsight of knowing that the players are going to be good, without knowing how that it's going to affect records or anything like that. And again, he's not on our board here because he went undrafted. So we're going to call, I'm going to take Fred VanVleet, and we're going to call him Frankie Smokes in this, because I don't know if you're going to take Ntilikina at any point in this draft.
I'm not.
So I'm gonna take Frank Ntilikina here on the board, but he's going to represent Fred VanVleet. Now that might change a ton of things, in the future. Obviously, you still select Luka, but maybe they would have went in a different direction with Brunson. I don't know. And who knows how that changes the course of history in time, because maybe if Brunson doesn't get selected, he doesn't end up on the Knicks because he just takes the extension that a smart team would ultimately give him. So who knows, again, how the history works there. But I'll take Fred VanVleet for this exercise here for Dallas, who is definitely in need of some young legs in that backcourt at this point.
Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense, and also a guy could play next to Luka, no problem. So
yeah,
I like it. Okay, at 10 for the Portland Trailblazers, I'm gonna stop the fall here for one of our guys who got taken at the top. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum still on the roster. Those were the guards, right?
Yeah.
But on the wing, what if they had like a running mate, a guy who could fill the floor, who could really pass the ball, could have, eventually become an outside shooter. And if he played this type of tertiary role early on, would that have saved some of the health stuff with him? Could things have turned out a little bit differently for him where he doesn't end up not on an NBA roster at the end of the 2026 season? So I'm looking at Lonzo Ball here for the Portland Trailblazers. I wonder if he was in this context with those veteran guards and playing like a tertiary, fourth, even maybe fourth role on that team, how would his career have developed differently? How would his health have looked like, at this stage compared to what it is now? So I think adding the size and the interesting toolbox that he had and the passing, maybe he's an interesting bench option for them and gets to progress slowly. And maybe also like they think differently about some of the trades they made. I don't know. Anyway, I like Lonzo going here just because of what he could have become if he ended up in a different context.
Yeah. I look, when Lonzo's on the floor, he was good. He impacted the game. Would he have been healthier? I don't know. Would he still wear the big Baller brand shoes? Probably.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I think at this point, you probably take the healthy years. Yeah. And he would certainly be super interesting as a connector there. I mean, when he was clicking, the two-way ability that he had, I mean, that dude thought the game so fast.
Yep.
And that would have been really interesting fit. So I can get on board with taking a chance on Lonzo there, that things shape up differently with his health for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, that wraps our top 10. But after the break, we're going to finish up the lottery and do picks 11 through 14. All right, guys, we are back and we are wrapping up the lottery of our 2017 redraft. And Corey, you are on the clock for the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, so this Hornets team, we have Prime Kemba. Ooh, big balls, Marco Bellinelli.
Mm-hmm.
And a smorgasbord of whatever. Still a good Nick Batum.
Yes.
Strong Nick Batum years ahead. Marvin Williams, still probably a fine player. Frank Kaminsky, completely fine. They're in a spot where they're probably still getting a completely fine player situation. Okay, I'm going to get Kemba I'm going to get him, I'm going to get him some wing help.
Oh,
I'm gonna get him, even though they're probably still doing the Michael Kidd Gilchrist experiment. Let's get more wings here, and let's get a maniac, but somebody who ultimately has just really impacted winning. I'm gonna go with Dylan Brooks out of
okay.
Oregon here. I'm just gonna take the guy who has turned himself into a really impactful NBA player, and I was close to going a somewhat different direction, but I'm gonna go Dylan Brooks there.
I get that one. I get that one. You bring in a gamer, a guy who can shift your culture a little bit, the intensity a little bit. It makes sense. It makes sense. Man, I'm in a tough spot. The Detroit Pistons here. But I figured it out.
Okay.
I say it's hard, and then I say it's figured out. Okay, this is a weird team, man. Look at the roster. Reggie Jackson in his prime, pretty young KCP. Tobias Harris was still only 24 at the time. Stanley Johnson was 20. They didn't know what he was going to become. Andre Drummond, Boban Marjanovic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add some front court help here. I'm gonna add a guy when he was healthy, was a defensive monster, an absolute defensive monster. Recently got waived. I wonder where his next stop is gonna be. I hope he can be healthy and figure out some next chapter of his career. But when he was healthy. No. I'm still going to do this because I just saw another name that was enticing to me, but I'm going to lock in. I'm going to take Jonathan Isaac here for the Detroit Pistons. Add a 4 or 5-ish guy who, once again, in his prime, when he was healthy, could really, really defend. And I'm still hoping for the best for him in terms of him finding some semblance of health and continuing his NBA career.
At the very least, you got the, like you said, an impactful guy when he was on the court and healthy. And I mean, who knows if his body would have broken down no matter what, but
yeah,
different time, different place, different movements, butterfly effect, you never know. And at the talent, you can make the case for him because, ultimately, we are 9 years later.
Yep.
Before he ended up getting waived. So sure. Yeah. You can certainly talk yourself into going in that direction. All right, so I'm up now for the Utah Jazz. Okay. We are at pick 13. So this is my last pick here. And this Utah Jazz team had Gordon Hayward. It had Derek Favors. It had a young Rudy Gobert. Oof. The Rudy Gobert thing really throws a wrench into stuff. Really, really because I also don't think that there's any wings or guards necessarily that make it. So I guess
you have to do it.
So I'm just gonna fill it with depth, and you figure it out later. I'm gonna go Jared Allen.
Yeah. Yep.
And if my second choice was probably going to be Hartenstein.
Yep.
Who I might even prefer. You know what? I'm going to do Hartenstein.
Do it.
Yeah. Because if you remember coming out of that draft, at least I thought, because look, I wasn't watching full Hartenstein games. I was YouTube scouting at this point, just whatever Draft Express was showing pretty much. Especially for the international guys. He was shooting threes.
Yeah.
In Germany. So maybe you develop that part of his game, let him space the floor off the bench, with that Favors Gobert front court, or he just comes in and plays, minutes with either guy. So I'll take Hartenstein there.
Yo. Makes a lot of sense. I just figured with Utah, it was like the preemptive move because you're going to trade Rudy Gobert. So it's like you bulk up the front court, get a guy in, have him prepare to transition after trading Gobert. So, yeah. Okay. With the Miami Heat. Interesting. This was a crazy team. Goran Dragic, Dion Waiters, Tyler Johnson. Wow, Tyler. I haven't thought about Tyler Johnson in a while. Wow.
Brooklyn paid him so much money.
Josh Richardson, Wayne Ellington was still 29 at the time. Wow, Justice Winslow, James Johnson. Okay, I'm going to do the thing because why not? Obviously, they would have loved to have Bam Adebayo here, but he's gone because we did smart moves here. And I'm just going to take a big here who has turned into a very serviceable center. Guy's been a starter for a long time now for 2 teams. Don't know what his future looks like this offseason, where he ends up. Does he stay in Cleveland? Does he get moved on? I'm going to take Jarrett Allen out of Texas, a guy who has had a good NBA career, has been a good player. Not the flashiest pick here, but for Miami, you get some size. Obviously, the stuff with Whiteside, that you knew what was coming there. So you take Jarrett Allen, you prepare for the future.
Yeah. And he's really impactful. I mean, he's a really, really good player, Jarrett Allen. So, and he's the best talent available based on, I think, how the careers have went.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's some guys who we didn't pick who I think have had good careers who had an argument to get drafted. I think Luke Kennard, Malik Monk, John Collins, probably all have arguments.
Kuzma.
That's probably it for the guys who I think could have been in the conversation. I mean,
really
look,
quickly, Corey.
you could also make the case that you take the Fultz gamble, and see how that plays out. But obviously, we're looking back with hindsight and how that turned out.
I mean, if Fultz went at 14 instead of 1,
yeah,
maybe. I just want to say back then I was, we were both doing YouTube scouting. The one guy that really stood out to me that I believed in him becoming an NBA player was Devin Robinson. I don't know why I loved him so much. Like I wrote him down in pen back then, thinking like he's gonna rock, like 6'8". He can shoot a little bit, just defensive, long, super athletic. I was like, the Knicks got to get him, and he turned out to be terrible. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I know Jordan Bell was a guy everybody loved on the internet
Yes.
in this draft.
I remember that
and
too.
then when he ended up going to Golden State, right?
Yep.
Was that where his first spot
Yep.
was? It was like, oh my God, they got Jordan Bell. And then that was fine.
But also, Corey, Ivan Rabb was a guy who was like really like highly ranked coming out of high school. And I think teams were like, oh, could we tap into something with him? But that was not a thing at all.
Yeah. Jonah Bolden, I remember being a guy that people liked.
Harry Giles, remember him?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, the Harry Giles thing.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 player in the class, I believe.
If he had working,
RCI.
Yep. If he had working knees, what he could have been.
Yeah. Because he was really talented, really interesting kind of player, very modern game.
Yep. Damn. All right, guys. Well, that was our 2017 redraft where we've, really impacted some of these teams and their future outlooks. But we really appreciate you guys rocking with us all week long with all of our different hosts and different shows. We'll be back for you guys next week with more exciting content. My name's Albert. He's Corey. Talk to you guys soon.